You truly are the mightiest hero. The entire multiverse owes you a debt of gratitude. Unfortunately, not everyone got to see this victory, but you'll fill the void on the team, won't you, Meatwad?
Straight.
Come, Meatwad, there are more adventures to be had!
Oh, if only there was a way to officially publish my fan fiction. What if indeed?
I think everybody has watched a movie and thought, wouldn't it be cool if this happened instead? Thanks to the internet, there's no shortage of insane fan fictions for your viewing pleasure. I even reviewed one a while ago. Go watch it. Before DeviantArt, there weren't many ways to experience these hypothetical events. You'd be lucky if a TV show had a non-canon episode. Comics, however, have had a long history of alternate scenarios. It is pretty easy when you have infinite Earths. The big two have both had titles specifically for this, with Marvel's What If and DC's Elseworlds. Dark Horse released a Star Wars series in the same vein, taking the plot of the original trilogy and having it play out in wildly different directions. If anybody else had that white Darth Vader figure as a kid, this is where that's from. There's a 4-issue story arc for each movie in the trilogy. Today we'll be looking at A New Hope. The cover for issue 1 looks pretty sick. I guess the what if here is that Luke Skywalker is 2 feet tall. If he's that tiny, how is he supposed to reach the gas pedals in his X-Wing? Opening the book, the first pages mirror the movie. Wow, that sure is different. Everything happened exactly the same. Nah, this recap basically sets up the premise. But there is one small point of divergence that sets off a new chain of events. The story really picks up with the iconic Death Star run. R2 gets shot, Han outmaneuvers Darth Vader in his freighter full of space drugs, and Luke makes the 1 in a million shot. We all know what's supposed to immediately happen, but something is off. Wedge tells Luke to check his scanner. One of the proton torpedoes detonated too early. They aren't given a chance to make a second attempt as more TIE fighters close in. At the Rebel base, their readings show that Luke's attack caused enough damage to give them a chance to escape. Leia's just done with the rebellion. Then she turns into a lizard person or some shit. Overall, Drew Johnson's art is decent. He drew ships looking super solid and three-dimensional with lots of bold shading and expressive faces. Sometimes a little too expressive, though. Tarkin is told the proton torpedoes damaged the power grid, and the Death Star won't be able to fire at full power. Tarkin doesn't care and orders them to fire anyway. The blast is devastating, but it's not enough to destroy the moon. Oh, it's almost like somebody told you it wasn't at full power. It'll take time for it to charge up again, allowing Leia and the rebels to escape. The moon is destroyed, but Luke wasn't aware that Leia had gotten away. He gives in to his anger and absolutely wrecks the TIE fighters until Obi-Wan talks some sense into him. Luke, just remember, Luke. I'm watching you forever. Yes, even when you poop. Especially when you poop. Han leads them through the debris field from the destroyed moon to lose the last of the fighters. The TIE pilots can't keep up and our fleeing heroes jump to light speed. Our issue ends with Leia captured and in the hands of Tarkin and Vader. The cover for issue 2 is like, what the hell is this Rob Liefeld pose Leia is making? I genuinely want to know how this could be practical in a fight. Oh, hold on, let me make sure my ass is pointed directly at the camera while I'm striking you. Han and Chewie come out of lightspeed, waiting for Luke to join them. Luke catches up and says his X-Wing is toast, so he has to board the Falcon. Chewie gets to work fixing R2 while Han and Luke discuss their next move. Luke wants to plan another assault on the Death Star, but Han is only concerned with self-preservation. And Luke makes this face. If anybody's looking for a new reaction meme, here you go. Luke is so pissed that he tries fighting Han and even threatens to use his lightsaber on him. Thankfully, Ghost Obi-Wan is there to stop him. Darth Vader has taken Leia to Coruscant to meet the Emperor. Sheev is doing pretty good in this timeline and has turned the Jedi Temple into his lair. No doubt to look for Yoda's secret weed stash. Palpatine then explains that he'll keep her as a pet. You better rethink that, dude. The last guy that tried that didn't end up so good. Elsewhere, Obi-Wan has led Han and Luke to Dagobah. Chewbacca also fixed R2. They wander around until they find a familiar... Oh, my mistake, sir. I thought you were Yoda. I already mentioned some of the faces being weird. For most of the human characters, I guess the likenesses are passable, but Yoda always looks like a bootleg version of himself. Yoda pulls the same shit he did in Empire, pretending he doesn't know anything about the Jedi. Han ain't buying that, though. I guess all the years of being a professional scoundrel gave him a special bullshit detector, and he sees through Yoda's test. On Coruscant, Vader has some quality time with his little princess. He gives her Obi-Wan's lightsaber to begin her training to the dark side, and she isn't fully resistant. Luke has also begun his training with a new backpack. Look how short Yoda's legs are. You really think he can outrun those seagulls on his own? Han and Chewie are getting on the Falcon to escape the swamps of Dagobah. I read about what goes on in the swamps on Reddit, and I wouldn't want to stay there either. Han offers to take Luke with him, but Yoda and Obi-Wan convince him to stay and finish his training. Also, Han can't hear or see Obi-Wan, so he just thought Luke was going nuts this whole time. Han leaves Luke with the two space wizards, no doubt to go commit some more space crimes. Vader continues to try to win Leia over, and it feels weirdly out of character for her. I guess I could see her using the dark side of the Force, but not teaming up with Vader. It's pretty hard to have a normal father-daughter relationship when your dad blew up your home planet. Luke has his own brush with the dark side, entering the Cave of Evil. He has a familiar encounter with the specter of Darth Vader. He exchanges blows with the Vision, but when he takes Vader's head off this time, Leia is the face behind the mask. Issues 3 and 4 were both drawn by a different artist, Al Rio. His faces are significantly better representations of the actors, though there's occasionally one that looks a little off. It's been 5 years since we last left off. Han and Chewie are desperate for cash and at risk of being caught by stormtroopers. They're watching an Imperial parade broadcast from Coruscant, celebrating the anniversary of the Rebellion's defeat. They see that Leia drank the Kool-Aid and has a seat on the Imperial Senate. Han is really confused about this complete 180 in her character and smashes the screen. That outburst drew the attention of bounty hunters working for Jabba the Hutt. I guess Han knowing that morbidly obese Muppet is a canon event. Han realizes they're being followed and they make their escape in a space shopping cart. We all had the Han Solo Chewbacca shopping cart playset as kids. Don't act like you don't remember. With nowhere else to hide, they only have one place left in the galaxy to go. Back to Dagobah. Luke has spent all this time mastering the Jedi arts. Weird how he goes through the goth phase in this timeline as well. Luke once again returns to the Cave of Evil, this time not bringing any of his weapons, and conquers the visions inside. Han was apparently just waiting for him in the cave. The cave tried showing Han his greatest fears too, but it got Harrison Ford's roles mixed up. Indy is the one that's afraid of snakes, dumbass. They head back to Yoda's chili con cook-off, where Han informs Luke of Leia's fate. Luke thinks she's being manipulated somehow and wants to rescue her. Yoda tells Luke that he isn't ready, but that doesn't matter. He has to go. Then Yoda is a complete asshole and he spoils The Empire Strikes Back.
Who'da thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father?
Thank you, Mr. Blow the Picture for me.
After some final words of wisdom from Obi-Wan's Blue Raspberry Ghost, Yoda leaves with the others on the Millennium Falcon. Also, I gotta say, I really love how Yoda looks completely baked in every panel this artist drew. I guess what else are you gonna do when you spend 24 years in an uninhabited swamp? Yoda was also keeping track of every slurp Han took of his precious swamp gumbo, insisting that Han give him a ride as payment. Yoda's expression on the final cover is foreshadowing of what to come. Those are the eyes of a stone-cold killer. He's gonna make the clone massacre at the Jedi Temple look like a joke. Since Coruscant is naturally swarmed with Imperial Star Destroyers, they need a plan to get through. Yoda, in all his demented wisdom, has a plan. The Falcon boards the Death Star and Yoda exits, using the old Jedi mind trick to distract the stormtroopers. Yoda manipulates them into thinking Tarkin is expecting them and goes off to see the Grand Moff himself. This leaves the others free to find the princess, with Chewbacca dropping Han and Luke off on the planet. Yoda finds his way to Tarkin, and I gotta say, the image of this little green critter showing up out of nowhere saying something about payment for your soul is really fucking funny. Swallow your soul? I will. Yoda continues to be the absolute best thing in this book and mind tricks Tarkin too. Han and Luke run into the Emperor's Guard and they're all packing Darth Maul lightsabers. This whole story feels like some shit a kid would come up with playing with toys, and I'm not dissing that. Han is pretty useless in this fight, but Luke, well, I guess they have more than just the lightsabers in common with Darth Maul now. After they finish the guards, they're met by C-3PO. He takes them to Leia, who is waiting with Vader and the Emperor. Vader gives his lightsaber to Leia, but Luke refuses to fight her. He reveals the familial connection to her, while C-3PO connects a blaster to Han's head. C-3PO holding someone at gunpoint is not something I ever thought I would see. Leia then attacks Luke, forcing him to defend himself. On the Death Star, Yoda continues to be a legend. He controls Tarkin, making him fire the Death Star at other Imperial ships. This draws the Emperor's attention from the battling twins. Leia really is easily convinced to switch sides in this series. Luke only has to mention the conflict within her once for her to immediately change. Palpatine gives him the zappy zap, but Vader grabs him so they can escape. The Emperor fries Vader, but then gets a message from Yoda. Sheev acts tough, but there's no way to prepare for Yoda's final trick. Yoda crashes the Death Star into the Jedi Temple, vaporizing himself and the Emperor in a biblical level of destruction. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear. Yoda crashes the fucking Death Star into Coruscant! This is beyond words. The heroes escape, satisfied the Emperor is dead, along with millions of other innocent people caught in the blast. Oh, and R2. Except he's not, because, they happen to have a backup of his memory on the Falcon. Our comic ends with Leia becoming the new Chancellor for the Restored Republic, and everybody is totally cool with another complete change in government. I guess my final thoughts are, don't mess with Yoda. He'll Majora's Mask your planet. Why do you always come here for this stuff? Don't you have any friends?
No, Lightning McQueen killed them all, remember? So what do you think?
They should have given you the electric chair last time.
No, what do you think about my story? Does it have a chance of being published? I personally like the part where Black Widow is carrying Meatwad's child.
Paul, I'm a defense attorney. Which you know that because you're in here every week for another crime against humanity. But even I know enough about copyright to tell you this has no chance.
Well, what if I made it more original? What if I took a blue character and combined it with a yellow guy and then made them one, like, a new guy? Would that work?